Hi everyone, Chris here. In this episode about how to read music, we're going to look at dotted notes. How do we read them? How do they work? Let's find out. Okay, here's our first dotted note. By dotted, I mean it's got this dot after the note. It's always after rather than above or below, and that means basically it makes the note longer. So let's see how that works in some more detail. Without the dot, we've got a minim. This usually lasts 2 beats or 2 crotchets long. What the dot does is make any note half as long again, or in other words, it adds half of the note onto itself. Let me show you what I mean. A minim is as long as 2 crotchets, so half a minim is 1 crotchet. With the dot, you add that half of the note onto the end, and that's how long it is. So instead of lasting 2 crotchets, it now lasts 3 crotchets long. 1.5 times as long. Let's do the same thing with a crotchet. A crotchet lasts 2 quavers. Here are 2 quavers underneath, so half of a crotchet is 1 quaver. A dotted crotchet would be a crotchet and a half, which would be this long. As you can see, this dotted crotchet tile is as long as a crotchet plus a quaver, or in other words, 3 quavers long. In each case, the dot is making the note 1.5 times its normal length. Lastly, let's look at a dotted quaver. Here's a single quaver. Half of this would be a semi-quaver. So a dotted quaver would be a quaver plus a semi-quaver long. The most common way to see a dotted quaver, usually joined up to a semi-quaver, and that's what this is here. To show you how that works, we're going to compare it to 2 normal quavers. And so they're the same length each. Because they're the same length, they're going to sound something like this. Ba, ba, half plus a half, and they add up to a crotchet. However, if you have a dotted quaver and a semi-quaver, instead of half plus half, you have 3/4 plus a quarter. It's going to sound something like this. Ba, 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 ba. Another way to visualize it is we've got quavers here in halves. Ba, 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 or 3/4 plus a quarter. Ba, 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 or faster. Ba, 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 ba. Let's look at a dotted minim in context. So in a 4/4 bar, and by the way, don't worry if you're not sure about time signatures yet, I've got a video on that, but this is just the basics. In 4/4, we've got a semi-breathe that lasts 4 beats long, that would be a whole bar. A minim would be half of that and half a bar. You could have a minim and 2 crotchets, for example. That adds up to 4, makes a bar. Or if you have a dotted minim instead, that lasts 3 crotchets long, plus another one, makes 4. So everything here adds up to 4. It's got 4, 2, plus 1, plus 1, or 3 plus 1. This is what they're going to sound like. The top row, ba, second row. Ba, 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 third row. Ba, ba. This last row goes 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now let's look at the dotted crotchet. There's a couple of ways you could see this. One common way is to see a dotted crotchet which lasts 3 quavers like this. So plus another quaver adds up to 4 quavers, or a minim. You can see here the dotted crotchet plus a quaver makes a minim. So you put them like this, we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And this rhythm would go like this a bit faster. Ba, 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 ba. If I put 4 crotchets below, you can see beat 1 is here, ba, beat 2 is still part of this dotted note. This quaver comes in between beats 2 and 3, and then this minim last beats 3 and 4. Again, ba, 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 ba. That's the rhythm here. In these examples, like in 4/4 in simple time, the beats we're counting are crotchets long. However, you often see dotted crotchets in compound time. Again, don't worry if you don't know what compound time is, I'll just show you what this looks like. In compound time signatures, instead of counting crotchets as the beat, we now count dotted crotchets as a beat. That may seem confusing, but basically we just count these like this. Ba, 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 ba. basically going to sound the same. The important thing though is dotted crotchets, or any dotted note, can easily divide into 3. In this case, into 3 quavers. So 6/8 is a common compound time signature. It involves 6 quavers in 2 groups. So this is going to sound like this. Ba, ba, or underneath. Ba, 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 ba. Whatever the context though, whether or not the dotted crotchets are counted as a beat or not, dotted crotchets are always 3 quavers long. That's because, remember, the dot makes the note, crotchet, or whatever it is, 1.5 times its usual length. A normal crotchet lasts 2 quavers, so a dotted crotchet lasts 3 quavers. A normal minim lasts 2 crotchets, and a dotted minim lasts 3 crotchets. Now here's a semi-breve. I don't actually have a dotted semi-breve tile. It would be really long and it's very uncommon. However, can you work out how long this would be with a dot? Normally, this 4-beat note would be as long as 2 minims, but with a dot it would be as long as 3 minims. So if you imagine this extended out, if there was a dot here, it would last this long as 3 minims. 1, 2, 3. Or 6 crotchets long instead of its usual 4. The dot always makes the note 1.5 times as long as its normal length. Okay, now let's look at some examples with a dotted quaver again. For context, here's the example above. Ba, 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 ba. That's how this goes. Now, here's something which is basically twice as fast. All these are half of these. So this goes ba, 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 and now this, ba, ba, ba. Together I go ba, 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 ba. So this da, 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 it's because of the dot. This makes it 3/4 of a crotchet plus 1/4 of a crotchet, instead of half a crotchet plus half a crotchet. Instead of this dotted quaver, semi-quaver, we could turn them the other way around and have semi-quaver, dotted quaver. It's still going to be 3/4 plus 1/4, but the other way around. It's going to sound like this. Ba, 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 ba. So this rhythm goes ba, 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 short, long, long. So to summarise, a dotted note makes whatever it is 1.5 times as long as its usual length. So a minim lasts 2 crotchets and a dotted minim lasts 3 crotchets. A crotchet lasts 2 quavers and a dotted crotchet lasts 3 quavers, 1.5 times as long. Often you find them like this, so they add up to this longer amount, or they're grouped like this. In other situations, the dotted note becomes the beat, and that can be divided into 3s. We'll talk about compound time signatures in a different video, so look out for that if you're interested. Let's just finish with one more example with lots of dotted notes in 4/4. I'll tap with my left hand the beat, a constant beat, and I'll sing the rhythm as it goes across here and then here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. So I hope all of this helps. Keep practicing. The best way is just to get used to how these rhythms and combination of notes sound in context. Once you play or sing them or hear them, you get used to how they work and it just becomes natural like a language. So I hope you found that useful. Check out my other videos about how to read music. And as always, if you like this kind of thing, please like, comment, subscribe and share. It will help build the channel and keep you up to date. Bye for now.